Hi hearties, welcome back to the Teacup Trail. We are on episode 1 of season 8, the biggest season yet. I'm so excited to talk about this season. I haven't watched season 8 since the season finale, so it will be fun for me to watch it back and talk about it with you. This episode, YouTube is giving me a hard time to upload it, so I'll be splitting up the scenes again like season 6, and I will give you like an emoji warning in the corner so you will know when I will be splitting up the scenes. I will try my best not to split all of them, especially the longer one. YouTube seems to target those. So that's my warning for this review of this episode. But we should get started with the first scene.
He has boundless energy.
Maybe you could use a change of pace.
Side note, we need another Christmas episode of whencallstheheart. There wasn't any Christmas episode before season 8, so basically we skipped over the winter and the holiday season and jumped right into the new season, springtime. You can see Elizabeth is happy and joyful and just enjoying watching her son play outside, and she seemed okay with Nathan so far. If you remember in the season 7 finale episode, something dramatic happened. Elizabeth thought that Nathan was dead. She ran into him and hugged him and embraced him, and jumped to this scene. It's springtime, so what the heck happened between that hug and little Jack playing outside?
You know, we never really got to have that dinner.
No, I guess we didn't.
How about tonight?
She was happy, enjoying by herself watching little Jack play outside until Nathan came along. Everything was good until Nathan brought up the topic about dinner, and you can see Elizabeth's facial expressions change a lot. She just did not want to talk about the dinner, and you can tell that she's been avoiding to go out with Nathan on the dinner, and also she never gave him the answer yes or no. Nathan seemed to be patient, unless he was busy during the holiday season, but he seemed to be patient and not forcing it. But still, Nathan just answered just now. It totally shows that Elizabeth is trying to avoid the dinner topic with Nathan.
Elizabeth, I've been thinking a lot about you.
I've been thinking of you too.
For now, we don't know what happened between the hug and this scene, and it makes me wonder what took Elizabeth so long to decide what to tell Nathan. Like, why is she not telling him yes or no? And it's pretty obvious that she doesn't want to go out with Nathan, but she doesn't know what to tell him or how to say it in the nicest way. But wintertime, holiday season, and now springtime, I would say that's enough time for her to decide or say yes or no to Nathan. And on the other hand, Nathan, it's not fair for Nathan to keep waiting for her response, and she never gave him an answer to his dinner invitation, so that's not good. Nathan keeps asking her shows that he really likes Elizabeth, but right now Elizabeth keeps looking down, and the way she keeps looking down means that she not interested to go out with Nathan. I don't know what is holding her back. I think the only reason why she's holding back from giving him the answer is because she doesn't want to hurt him. But Elizabeth, you need to tell him. I mean, if you're gonna hurt his feelings, which is always what happens anyway, you have to. And if you are truly his friend, you should be honest since the beginning. last but not least, in this small part, what Nathan said and what Elizabeth said are so important. I believe what Nathan said when he said, "I've been thinking a lot about you." For me, I see that as he thought about her a lot on a romantic level. Like, he is really into Elizabeth. On the other hand, Elizabeth said, "I have been thinking of you too." So she is thinking about him, but not as him as a romantic interest. She's trying to figure out what to say to Nathan and how she feels about him, and the fact that she's not into him as much as she is into Lucas.
May I let you know later?
You let me know whenever you're ready.
And I tell you later. Seriously, Elizabeth is postponing her answer to Nathan, and she is definitely leading him on. It's not good. Nathan is like still hopeful. Like, he thinks like, oh, she doesn't say yes or no yet, so maybe I still have a chance with her. And he's been like sitting around and waiting for her to give him the answer. And when the guy asks you out twice and you're not giving him the answer, not only that means that she doesn't want to, but she's been rude to him. I would say Elizabeth is rude. I mean, Nathan deserves the honest truth right away instead of losing his time and effort on Elizabeth when Elizabeth is not interested to go out with him. Like, I feel really bad for Nathan, and he is trying to be patient with her, trying to give her time to think it through. I wonder if Nathan is questioning himself, like, what is holding her back, you know? He knows about Lucas, but since she say nothing, you know, if I was Nathan, I would be like, okay, what's going on? You're not gonna say yes, or you're not gonna say no? You're not giving me the answer right away? Like, what is holding you back? But on the other hand, Nathan, he already had that competitive mind, like, you know, he competing against Lucas. So he's like, I still have a chance. She's not saying no to me. I'm gonna go all in for her. But on the other side, Elizabeth is leading him on, and it's not good. Okay, so that 2 quick moment of Elizabeth, she feels relieved that Nathan finally left her, and she kept looking at him as he was walking away, and you can tell that she is still struggling. She really doesn't want to say no to him because she doesn't want to hurt him, and she doesn't want to lose her friendship with Nathan. Her friendship with Nathan is so important to her, especially with his niece. Like, she needs to keep that friendship, because if anything happened to that friendship, it would be so awkward with Allie involved, since Elizabeth is Allie's teacher.
Lucas is away too. He left town after New Year's, bound for... Actually, I don't know where. We barely saw each other before his sudden departure, but it seemed clear things have changed between us.
Finally, we get to see what happened during the holiday season. Lucas left town, and you can see that he is still struggling with the fact that Elizabeth hugged Nathan like that. Like, the way that they embrace each other in the hug bothered Lucas, and it probably broke his heart, and he's just wondering if he still have the chance to be Elizabeth's boyfriend down the road. So he's taking some time away from Elizabeth in Hope Valley, it seemed like it, and he is just focusing on himself, and I think it's a good thing.
For Nathan, he's been here and there with the Mounties, and off to see Allie's grandfather as well.
So Lucas and Nathan were away a lot during the winter holiday season. So that give us more understanding of why Elizabeth hasn't given Nathan the answer to the dinner.
Has made avoiding my feelings that much easier. But if the time to reflect on these two men has made anything clear, it's that I can't continue seeing them both as romantic interests.
She knows that eventually she had to decide. She told Rosemary she doesn't want to pick one over the other because she knows that if she does, one of them will get hurt, and that also means that she is opening her heart to love again, and that's something scary for her to do. So Elizabeth needs to decide whether it's Nathan or Lucas in season 8, and we'll see how long that takes for the writers to give us the confirmation which man is chosen by Elizabeth as her new love interest.
Oh my goodness.
Hello.
Would you like to come in?
I want to apologize for leaving with no explanation and for not even having the decency to say goodbye.
If you do not see how happier she is, how happier she was when Lucas showed up at her doorstep, I'm sorry to say, you are completely blind. She was so happy to see Lucas. It was definitely a surprise for her, but she was joyful to see him coming back home to Hope Valley. She asked Lucas to come in, which is a polite and normal gesture to do, but Lucas haven't stepped inside her house yet. And throughout season 8, when we watched this season for the first time on TV, I heard other fans were talking about that and how Lucas never stepped inside her house. And correct me if I paraphrase it wrong, but I think from what I heard is that basically the house symbolized the Thornton house, and Jack was the head of the household, and he was the husband to Elizabeth and supposed to be the father to little Jack. And Lucas respects the symbol of that house, and he knows that he is not the head of that house, and he is not her husband, he is not the father to little Jack. So he respects the boundaries of that house and what the house symbolizes for the Thornton family. And I think Lucas will never step inside that house until he at least become Elizabeth's boyfriend, if that's the case, down the road. He did not ignore her request to come inside in a rude way. I think it's just because of what I just told you, that the house is something sacred. It's not his home, and he is not the head of the household. And then he immediately apologized to her for leaving town, and the way he did was wrong. And Elizabeth seemed very comforted by that. He knows that the way he left Hope Valley bothered Elizabeth, and before he left Hope Valley, you saw that he looked over to Elizabeth and he saw Elizabeth's facial reaction, and he's like, oh boy, like, I need to leave, I need to clear my head. But I know Elizabeth is probably most likely wondering what the heck happened to me, and now Lucas is explaining to her why he left.
Why did you leave?
When that Mountie was shot during the prisoner transport, and you thought Nathan had been killed, I saw your reaction, and I saw how you ran to him and embraced him.
I didn't know that.
What Lucas said, that is just brutal honest in the good way. Like, that's a lot of courage and confidence for a man to admit to a woman that he was jealous. It's just wow. And Elizabeth, it looked like she knew what was coming when Lucas started talking about what happened. She's like, oh no, like, did he see the hug between Nathan and I? Lucas thought that the hug meant something romantic going on between Nathan and Elizabeth, but with Elizabeth, the hug to her meant for like a friendship hug. Like, she was grateful that her friend Nathan was alive and that he didn't get shot, because she doesn't want to go through that again, especially after what happened with Jack. Lucas, the way he keep looking down and blinking his eyes, he's just like so nervous to tell her his honest feelings, and I have to give kudos to Lucas. That's like a lot of gut to say that to a woman, and I think Elizabeth appreciated that because she was wondering what happened, and now she has a better, clearer picture of why Lucas left and where Lucas stands as in the friendship, and she knows that Lucas is jealous. That means he likes her.
I'm ashamed to say that I let my jealousy get the best of me. The worst of me. And I thought it would be best if I left until I was able to sort things out.
And have you?
I'd like to tell you more about it when I have time.
I'd like that.
Lucas was ashamed to be jealous, and again, that's like a lot of courage for him to release his feeling like that to Elizabeth. Very brave, and he's very honest, and that's what I like about Lucas. Very open, and he say as it is when he is ready to tell her, and he finally did in this scene. And do you see Elizabeth? She kind of like leaned closer to Lucas when she asked him if he have sorted out his feelings, sorted out his thoughts. She kind of like stepped one step closer to him. I don't know if you saw that, but she was very interested to hear more about where Lucas stands in their friendship, and just to tell her where he went and so forth.
Welcome home.
Thank you.
When Elizabeth said welcome home, I truly believe that what she said, welcome home, holds so much meaning, not only to Elizabeth, but to Lucas too. Elizabeth is happy that he is back at home in Hope Valley. If Lucas ever leaves Hope Valley for good, I think she'll be very sad. And Lucas, when he heard Elizabeth tell him welcome home, it's like a comforting words for him, because he moved around a lot as a kid. He never settled down at one place for a very, very long time until he came upon Hope Valley. And Hope Valley had been a comfortable place for him to stay, and he is blossoming, growing as a person in Hope Valley, and he met a lot of good people in Hope Valley. And Lucas hearing welcome home from Elizabeth assures him that Elizabeth's happy to see him back in Hope Valley, and he knows that Elizabeth wants Lucas to be in Hope Valley. When Lucas left town, I mean, you can see it, Elizabeth was so sad, and she didn't know when he was coming back or if he ever will.
Oh, I used to have the same kind of puppy.
Excuse me, sir. Found those directions you were looking for. Why don't you step over here?
Ma'am?
Listen, you'll get your money, all right?
Tonight. Otherwise, I'll be back.
Is there something wrong?
No. Why?
You don't seem like yourself.
I guess I have a lot on my mind.
Who was that earlier in town?
Just someone I've had run-ins with in the past. I've asked him to be on his way, so if you see him around town, let me know, okay?
Of course.
Back to back. So if you watched the episode before, you would know that Allie's father randomly appeared out of the blue in Hope Valley. Nathan doesn't like that, and he is trying to keep that situation away from everyone else in town. Part of me is like, is he embarrassed to tell anyone, especially Elizabeth, that more family trouble came into light? This time it's Allie's father. The last time was Allie's grandfather. So it's just like family trouble keep coming into the present time. And he somewhat told Elizabeth that it is someone from his past, but he's not telling Elizabeth the whole story. And Elizabeth already have this mental connection with Nathan. Like, she knows when there's something wrong going on with Nathan, and she's trying to figure out what's going on and trying to find out who that other man is, and Nathan is not telling her anything. Does Elizabeth deserve to know? I think she should, especially in the sense of her being the teacher. If anything happened to Allie during school time or after school walking home or anything, like kidnap, I think Elizabeth should know or get a better picture of who that man is. But I think Nathan doesn't want to talk about it because it's something that was a big issue in his life and his past, and also he probably doesn't want to show to Elizabeth that his past is full of troubled people and it's not a happy upbringing for him.